Here we go. We're going to divide the rational expressions, so we're going to work just that last page of your notebook, of that little booklet. Then we're going to work a few problems on one page of your interactive notebook. Then you'll have your homework. Now, let's talk about the week. So far with rational expressions, remember a rational expression just means there's a variable in the bottom. It's a fraction, and there's a variable in the bottom. You've learned how to simplify them, multiply them. Today you're going to learn how to divide them. So what do you think you're going to learn tomorrow? Add and subtract. So the next 2 days is add and subtract them, okay? Adding and subtracting is more involved than multiplying, yeah. Now, on Friday, you'll have a quiz on doing all those things with rational expressions. Simplify, add, subtract, multiply, divide. Friday. Okay. Everybody should already have this on your table of contents. Can you guys see? All right, just checking. Okay. Okay, and put your Chromebook away. Now, let's do a little review first. Well, I guess we can do it. Division is multiplying by the, not denominator, reciprocal. So, let me ask you about if you know what reciprocals are. Write that down. I give you the number 2/3. What's the reciprocal? 3/2. I give you the number 1/4. What's the reciprocal? 4. What's the reciprocal of 1/5? What's the reciprocal of 7? 1/7. Good. Now, when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. I'm sorry? The second one. Because that first problem says 1/2 divided by 3/4. So we are dividing by 3/4. So that's going to be multiplying by 4/3. I want earbuds out, okay? All earbuds out. Even if you've got the rechargeable ones, I want them out of your ears. We're going to rewrite this as 1/2 times what? 4/3. Now remember, instead of multiplying across and then simplifying, can you simplify first? Do you have any common factors you can divide out? You got a 2 you can divide out? 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. What are you left with in your numerator? 1 times 2 is 2, and in your denominator, 1 times 3 is 3. 2/3. Now let's look at the second one. 1/5 divided by 4/5. How would I rewrite that with a multiply? Good. 1/5 times 5/4. Do I have any common factors I can factor out? The 5 goes into 5 one time. Good. The answer is 1/4. Number 3. I rewrite a division as a multiplication by saying 8/7 times. Good. Do I have any common factors? A 4. 4 goes into 4. And 2 there. Yeah. 2/7. There you go. 2/7. Okay. We've got, I believe, how many? There's 6 there. Okay. Now, listen. When you're doing these, rewrite them as a multiply. Well, I'll say something else in a little bit. Look at A. 4x cubed over 9x squared y divided by 16 over 9y to the 5th. Okay. So I'm going to write 4x cubed over 9x squared y times what? Good. 9y to the 5th over 16. Well, a lot of stuff will. 4 and 16 will factor a what out? A 4 out. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 16 4 times. Okay, got that part done. 9 and 9. 9 divided by 9. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's multiply what we've got left here. And we can do this different ways. Can you deal with the x's and y's right now? Yeah. The only x I've got is that x cubed. The only y I've got, or the only x I've got down here is the x squared. Right. So that's going to become x on top. Where's the y to the 4th going to be? Because I got it here. That's going to be y to the 4th. X times y to the 4th power over 4. Yep. Good. Good. Yep. The y to the 4th. Did you just answer your own question? Okay. Oh, whoops, sorry. You don't want that. You don't want that. We were graphing tangent and cosine. Good. Take pre-cal. Okay. You got this? All right, here we go. Now let's look at B. Now I'm not going to have enough room. You will. I mean, don't write great big, but you'll have enough room. You're going to have to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction, correct? So when you write the reciprocal of the second fraction, you can go ahead and factor it in the same step, just to save you a step, save you some room. Will the first fraction that I'm not doing anything to factor? Okay, the numerator, does the numerator happen, anything happen to it? So that's, let me get more space over here. That numerator's 4x. Will that denominator factor? How? What's 5 called? It's a number. It's the greatest common factor. Number. 5 times x minus 4 is not wrong. It's not right either. What cancel out? I don't see an x minus 4 yet.
I'm ahead of you guys.
Yeah, you are. You are. Now, remember, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of this. So this is going, so that's going to be the new numerator, right?
Yes.
Are you with me that that's going to be the new numerator? So let's go ahead and factor it. X minus 4 times x minus 2. And then this is going to be my new denominator. And I heard x times x minus 2. Okay, now listen, I'm going to be real persnickety about this. I'm just going to say we're going to factor out common factors, okay? Do you see any common factors that will factor out? X minus 4, x minus 2. Don't write this down. What do you see there? So you could go ahead and do that now. X divided by X. 4/5. Questions? All right, go to the next one. We're on C. Are we going to have to do a reciprocal something? Okay. So let's look at the first fraction. Will any of it factor? Well, the first fraction. So the numerator stays the same. Denominator, I factor out a 3 times what? Times. Very good. That's x plus 4 because that's going to be my new numerator. Question? When you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. This is my new denominator. Yep, that is a dot. It's a difference of 2 squares. The x plus 4's factor out. And x plus 2. Is that what I'm doing? What's all this? Oh. All right then. Oh, x plus 2 and x plus 2. If you want to distribute the 3, that's fine. You don't have to. Question? Are there any x values that have to be excluded? X could not equal what? 2 or negative 2. Let's just put plus or minus 2 or negative 4. Good. What about D? Yeah, this is this, isn't it? Sure will. Will that numerator, that first numerator factor?
Yes.
We hope so. Can't be 3x minus 3 because that would have a GCF of 3. We're trying to factor this. Well, we better check on that. Well, let's see. That would be 15x. That would be, does that add up to give me 13x? Yes, and does last multiply to give me negative 10? Yep, so that's it. Times. Good. X times 3x minus 2. All right, all right. Do I have any common factors I can factor out? X plus 5 over, I've got 6x squared times x. 6x cubed. 6x cubed. You don't like this? Good. Yeah. Never mind. I could say something real snarky, but I won't. Are there any x values that you have to leave out? 0. I have to leave out 0. Where do I have to leave out a 2? I don't see having to leave out a 2. 3x minus 2. Now let's talk about 3x minus 2. If 3x minus 2 would equal 0, what would x have to be? Ah! Add 2 and divide by 3. Right. If I add 2 and divide by 3, 2/3. That is not what I was thinking. There you go. So my answer is x plus 5 over 6x cubed, provided x is not equal to 0 or 2/3. If x is negative 5, if x is negative 5, negative 5 plus 5 is 0, right? And if x is negative 5 cubes negative 125. Negative 125 times 6, I think, is negative 750, but I can't swear to it. We do. What's 0 divided by negative 750? 0. Is that undefined? I can do 0 divided by something that's not 0. The answer is 0. Not if you do 0 divided by negative 750, it's not going to give you an error. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Do I have to do a reciprocal thing? Do you do the reciprocal on the first fraction or the second one? Yeah, the one that you're dividing by, which is the second one. X plus 3 over x plus 2 times x plus 2, yes. X plus 2 times x plus 5, good. Now, what do you see? Sarah says x plus 2s will factor out. Okay, so x plus 3. X, I'll tell you what would be a negative 1. Every term would have to be opposite. Every term. And that would give you a negative 1. No, because on x plus 3 and x minus 3, the only thing that's opposite is the 3's. The x's are the same. That's a good question, though. I'm glad it was brought up. X plus 2 times x minus 3. That is simplified. You want to FOIL it? Knock yourself out. I wouldn't. Can you? Yeah. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I do. But that's just going to take me extra time that's not necessary. Then if you need to practice foiling, you FOIL them back and that'll be fine. Are there any x values that x cannot be? X cannot equal 3 or negative 2. I want to ask you a question. Can x equal negative 5? But look, if x is negative 5, so here's what I'm asking you. If x is negative 5, what's negative 5 squared?
25. 25 plus 35.
No. What if x is negative 5? What's 7 times negative 5? Plus 10 is 0. Is 0. So see, this piece here would be 0. Now, is that a problem? I can't divide this by something that doesn't exist. Can you reciprocal something that doesn't exist? No. If it doesn't exist, I can't take the reciprocal.
What? Your body still exists.
Screw it, never mind.
Here's the deal. When you are dividing, you have to do exactly what you did before, but you also have to look at the original denominator, because if you're trying to divide by something that doesn't exist, you can't take the reciprocal of it. So you're going to have to leave that negative 5 out as well. Because see, negative 5 would have made this 0. So you're dividing by something that doesn't exist, which is impossible. I know that's a little weird. Last one here on this page. We are. Aiden, dude, you're about out. Which one do I do the reciprocal of? The second one. So this is x minus 1 over 1 times and what's whatever. So my answer is x plus 3 times x minus 1. Not quite. Are there any x values that you cannot use here? I cannot use 1 because that makes this 0. Right, I cannot use negative 3 because if I use negative 3, I would have been dividing by something that doesn't exist, which I can't do. You just can't, you just keep it to yourself. Okay. Here's what I need. I need a thumb. I got this. I kind of got this. And I don't have a clue what you're doing. You don't like it, but you got it. Okay. All right. Now here's what we're going to do. That booklet needs to go on your page 134. So go ahead and put it in. Now here's what we're going to do. On the next page, your 135, I want you to put mixed practice at the top. Mixed practice. Now there are 6 problems here. We'll do 3. Okay? And for those of you who still feel like this, then I'll just gather you together and we'll practice some, just a few of us. Can you write down the third one? How do you know those 2 we're going to do? How do you know that those were 2 that I was going to pick? Actually, I was going to do one of those and 2 others. Dang it. Just hang on. Just hang on. We are going to do number 1. Number 1. Do we need a reciprocal on number 1? No, because it's a what? It's a multiply. So please write number 1 down. For real. You're fast at this. Now, I don't remember either Sarah or Angel said it. I don't remember. They said, well, the 3x plus 2s will factor out right away.
I didn't say that.
Then that must have been Angel. Okay. And they will. No, because it was a female voice. So the 3x plus 2s factored out right away. Now, let's look at 4 minus 8. 4 minus 8x. Is there a GCF or can I factor 4? So this will be 4 times what? 1 minus 2x over, will 2x minus 1 factor? No. Mm-mm. Why do we have a negative 1? Why am I going to get to use a negative 1 here? Look in the top. Is the 1 positive or negative in the top? Positive. In the bottom? Look at the 2x in the top. Positive or negative? In the bottom? Do you see that the terms are the same, but every sign is changed? When that happens, it's a negative 1. Answer is negative 4. Negative 4. Can you figure that out? What can x not equal? No? Let's look at this. If 2x minus 1 equals 0, what would x have to be? No. How would you solve this little equation right here? What would you do? Add 1 and divide by 2. A half. Because half of 2 is 1 and 1 minus 1 is 0. X cannot be a half. And then you've got 3x plus 2. No. It'd be negative 2/3 because you'd subtract 2 from both sides and then divide by 3. I know. Now, let's do number 3. Call it number 2. We're just going to do 3 problems, yeah. Well, I've got them. X plus 3. Did you get it? Okay. Do I have to do reciprocals on number 3? On this one? Yeah? Okay. Well, reciprocal of what? The second one, good. So first one, can I factor the first one? Good. Times 1 over. Now, here's what I want you to do on that x plus 3 quantity squared. I want you to write them both out. X plus 3 times x plus 3. Everything should be easier for you to see. Do you have anything that you can factor out? You got an x plus 3. Anything else? That's it. So your answer is x plus 5. Good. Are there any x values that you cannot use? No. Okay, from here, negative 3 and 0. What about negative 5? Right, that one was okay because it was in the first fraction, right? I wasn't doing a reciprocal or anything with it, so I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, if I square 0, I get 0. Life is good. Huh? How's a what? I don't know what you're asking me. Oh no, I've got a little trick that I'll have to remember it, but yes, I do. I can prove to you that 0 is equal to 1. We're going to do number 6. Last one. Number 6. Write it down. Are we going to need to use a reciprocal? Yes. Now let's look at that first fraction. Does the first fraction stay the same, or does the first fraction get reciprocal? First fraction stays the same. Now, will that first numerator factor?
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too. A GCF of 2, you got to start there. GCF of 2. 2 times what?
Wait, can't you write that too?
I hope so. Are you having a Taylor moment back there? Okay, good. Now, so the question, remember, after you factor out that GCF is self.
Oh my god! I didn't factor out a GCF. That's why I'm having trouble.
Yep, that's exactly why you're having trouble. Whoops. Yes, I know I'm using yellow. I know.
It's a highlight. It's a highlight.
It's just a highlighter.
It doesn't count.
Right. Now, would y'all shush? Will that factor?
Yeah.
6x squared, what options do we have on 6x squared? 3x and 2x or 6x and x? Try 3x and 2x first.
3x plus 1 and 2x plus 4. Let's try that.
Well, first of all, that's not right. What are your signs going to be?
Minus 4.
Minus 4 and they're both negative. They're both negative.
Your signs are both negative.
Got it.
Yep.
Bro, wait, is it not 3x, 2x? I was like, what are these?
Thank you.
No problem. That extra.
Oh, maybe. Now, how can I factor 4? Or 2 and 2 or 4 and 1? Shh. We need an 11. 4 on the first one and 1 here. Okay, let's see. Outer gives me, no it doesn't, negative 3x. Inner gives me negative 8x. Now, does last, if I multiply, give me positive 4? Yes, so we've got it factored. Okay, so this is going to be on the top, correct? GCF of 2x, you say? Is this? Is that right? 3x squared, I'm foiling. 3x squared plus 6x minus 4x gives me plus 2x minus 8, correct? Oh, you mean I've got a common factor right there already. So, huh? Oh, well, let me write this down here. It's about as clear as I can make it, dear. Now listen, I got a 2 times a 2x, right? Which is a 4x times this over this. Yeah, I can factor out the x's. Two times 2x minus 1, and again, if you want to distribute that, that's fine, over 3. Oh, snap. Yeah, 2 times 2 is 4, thank you. Any x values that we have to leave out? What about from here? 0. No, you're close. Right. Oops, snap. Add 4. Come on, Stennett. Where is it? Oh, almost. Add 4 and divide by 3. Do I have anything from back up here? -2. What about 1/2? What about from here? Is that an okay or, huh? Because it never left the top. It was never on the bottom. So it wasn't on the bottom here or here. So it's okay. Now, I'm going to give you your assignment. If you are still struggling with this a little bit, I'll pull you aside and we'll practice a little more. And I'll put the answer key on the podium.